All right, so next I would invite representatives from Environment Canterbury to the table. Councillor Megan Hands and Deputy Chair Peter Scott. Thank you very much indeed for joining us this afternoon. This is a submission on our long-term plan, and you have 10 minutes to make that submission. Thank you.
Tēnā koutou katoa, kiti riri ngā mihi nui kai tanikera. Good to be here, Andrew, and we'll take our submission that's being read. We've got some points to make. I'll make some and then Megan will speak, and hopefully we'll have some time for questions at the end of this. And our apologies for not being here yesterday. We've just finished our long-term planning process at 9:05 last night, our deliberations, so you'll be pleased to know that we're free now to do other things, so that's great. We won't get into that. So we're happy to be here today, Andrew, on behalf of Chair Jenny Huey and ECAN to make the submission to you. A key message, I guess, is working together and being supportive in this time of change for us in terms of local government, and we value the close working relationship we have with you on a governance and a management level. I think you're very supportive towards us, and hopefully we reciprocal towards you. And a collaborative joined-up approach for Christchurch and the rest of Canterbury is pretty important for us, as we are the centre of the population in the South Island, really, in this area. So thank you for that. We'd like to just acknowledge Leanne's leadership in terms of the Merrill Forum. I think that entity is doing such a good job in terms of pulling all the strings across Canterbury together, across about our 10 TAs. We stretch from the Clarence down to the Lindis Pass, so that's our area, and so those mayors are very important for us in terms of getting a view of our region and how that works. The GCP is another area where we're really happy that we've made a lot of progress with you in terms of that, and I think that relationship is reflected in how well it's going, and the clearness of the strategy the 2050 strategy that's coming out, and other pieces of work that's coming out for the well-being of the communities of Greater Christchurch. Again, the PT Futures case that we're working on with you is a key piece of work that we need to be done. It is a vexed problem in Christchurch and the region in terms of PT. It's one of those issues that we just got to keep chipping away at, and hopefully it will make work. The ability of people across the city and across the region to use public transport is important. It's an important key piece of infrastructure, and we hopefully together we can make it work better than what it is. Again, we'd like to thank you for your support in terms of the Canterbury Water Management Strategy, and especially around the work that we're doing in Selwyn Waihora with that zone committee. So with those comments, I'll hand over to Megan.
So following on the water front, we would like to acknowledge your initiatives to improve the health of urban waterways, in particular the Water Partnership. And as Peter said, we see it a natural fit for Environment Canterbury, and we're really pleased to be part of this initiative with you and look forward to where it can go in the future. We'd also specifically like to note support of your investment in water infrastructure over the next 10 years, particularly those projects that will see removal of wastewater from Whakaraupō and the Akaroa harbours. We do urge you to continue to partner with Ngāi Tahu and progress this work in line with community expectations that we hear a lot about. The Canterbury Water Management Strategy includes water efficiency goals, and this includes proposals for water metering and monitoring for residential use. A regional biodiversity champions group has recently been set up, and we'd like to acknowledge Councillor Cotter as your biodiversity champion. We look forward to working together on this, and we're quite excited about where a shared regional approach to biodiversity can go. And you'll note when you do see our LTP the commitment that Environment Canterbury is making in the biodiversity space. We also look forward to continue to work together as part of strategic co-governance and co-management for Te Waihora and its catchment, and for Whakaora Healthy Harbour. Thank you to Councillors Cotter and Turner respectively for their contributions in those spaces. And we also understand from our discussions that you are supportive of the EnviroSchools program. There are 27 Christchurch schools on our list and 50 on the wait list. We hope that together we can continue to offer this valuable program to some of those 50 schools that are on the wait list. And you'll note from our submission that we ask you to consider spending some of your budget, 100 to 200,000 K, so that we can add additional project management support and facilitation in that space. And I will note that since our submission yesterday, we have committed additional expenditure ourselves in that space, as was proposed in the draft. As councillors are well aware, nature-based education is one of the best intergenerational investments we can make and cost-effective approaches for better outcomes for the combined well-being of our environment and communities. And so we'd really appreciate if you could think about that. Thank you for your time, and it looks like we might have some time for questions.
And can I just add also, Andrew, which I forgot to say, is thanks to Mike in terms of the work that he's doing on regional transport. We've got a big day next Friday for our regional land transport plan. So thank you for that, Mike.
Thank you. So thanks for the submission. Thanks for the acknowledgement of the many ways that we work in partnership between the Regional Council and ourselves, and the acknowledgement of specific work done by individual people sitting around our own table that contribute to that. It's appreciated. And likewise, we would return those same compliments. Partnership is something that is increasingly important and increasingly evident in the work that we do. And I'd also acknowledge the contribution of individuals around your table to a number of the initiatives and partnerships that you've mentioned this afternoon. So you have left time for questions. Melanie.
I was wondering if you had any comments around our Biodiversity Fund, which we've actually proposed to cut by 5%.
You go.
Like I said, we don't usually delve into each other's budgets, and we made an exception for EnviroSchools, but like I said, we've made significant investment in the biodiversity space across the whole region, and our council is very supportive of biodiversity projects, and we believe they have benefit for both the environment and for the community, so I won't let you dwell on it that much.
Thank you. Pauline.
Yeah, thank you. Good answer. Do you have any comment on our proposed closure of the Rickett Bus Lounge?
Pete, do you want to cover that one?
Look, I think there's a bit of angst in the community around that. Some people see that as sort of, a centre that they can trust. We've had comment on that. I'm not going to tell you how to suck eggs on this, actually. No. They're your communities, but there is some comment in terms of support of that Rickett exchange.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Answer.
Anne, and then Tim. Anne.
Yep, kia ora. Thank you. It was great. Just wondering, I think you said that you had increased the amount of money you're putting into EnviroSchools after deliberations. What are the reasons that you have decided to do that?
Look, that's a really, really good question. I mean, we had a great debate about that. There are people at our council table that see the responsibility for education sitting with the education department. We I guess, have got a good track record in EnviroSchools, and it's a great program for kids. And it's one of those things that if we don't do it, we don't think it will get picked up. We would like to partner with the central government in doing that, and maybe that's something that we can pursue with you in terms of putting some pressure on central government, because as Megan said, if we've got 50 schools wanting to join, that's massive.
So the resources not there to meet the demand?
Not at the moment, no. Yeah, which is why we're asking for everyone to help.
Good, thank you.
Tim.
Yeah, thank you. And I just want to thank you for making the exception with regards to EnviroSchools. It's an incredible program, and we're seeing the benefits when we see Generation Zero and others who've come through it. So thank you for making the exception with that one.
Wasn't a question.
Aaron.
I'll frame mine as a question, but thank you for coming and submitting on our LTP, although I wouldn't mind if you were telling us how to suck eggs a little more on some of our spending, because I think some of us have publicly done the same back. We're obviously doing the LTP at the moment, as well as our climate change policy. What's your position on us doing our climate change policy when you guys sit over there looking after the environment so much? Shouldn't the two be doing the exact same thing at the same time, would be my question. Try and answer that diplomatically.
Look, I think I think the city's role is more, it's seen by a wider sense of the population. When we try and engage with our community, we get very, very small engagement. You've got a great bunch of community boards and that that advise you. I think they expect you to do that. Whether we should join up, that's a question we probably should have a discussion about. But I think your community expects you to be doing something. We know the communities across Canterbury are hungry for information on climate change. Whether we will ever satisfy that demand, I'm not sure, but I think you're wise to do what you're doing.
I think the other thing that I'll add there in terms of that is that it is important for us to continue to work in partnership and collaboration there, and there's obviously pieces of work we already do. We put a climate change lens across all of our programs now, and so naturally everything we're doing with you does have that climate change lens too, and whether that's something that's within what you're doing as well, I'm not sure.
All right, Deputy Chair Peter Scott, Councillor Megan Hands, thank you very much indeed for taking the time to come and
Thank
present
you.
to us this
Enjoy
morning.
the rest of your deliberations.
And thanks to your colleagues who are not here for the submission that you have brought to us. Thank you very much indeed.
Thanks.
Thank you. All right, so we now come